Good afternoon, dear students. Today we'll be discussing the story which is prescribed in your first year syllabus. I think you can see the title here. The title of the story is The Adventure of the Blue Carbuncle. Now, with the title of the story, I think I'll make it clear. You can easily make it out. Let's see, adventure. By the word adventure, you can easily make it out that, of course, you know what is adventure. It's kind of a kind of a thrill, kind of an excitement, something we discover. And of course, Blue Carbuncle. And the writer of the story is Arthur Conan Doyle. Now, this story, The Adventure of Blue Carbuncle, is one of the 56 Sherlock Holmes stories. So, by the name of Sherlock Holmes, I think you might have heard the name of Sherlock Holmes. I think when I was a child, I watched his detective series a lot, and we're quite acquainted with him. So, he was a detective, basically. So, 56 Sherlock Holmes stories written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Now, in this interesting story, the author offers up a tale of goodwill that has a darker flip side. So let's see what is there. The goodwill sees Sherlock Holmes trying to return a hat and goose lost by someone on Christmas Day, and the story then deals with the theft of a precious stone. So which precious stone we're talking about here? The precious stone is the blue carbuncle. That is the diamond. That's a precious stone talking about. So the prowess of Holmes is displayed in the detective deducing much about the owner of the hat and the goose simply from examining the battered hat, though the solving of the missing stone has much more to do with the legwork than deduction. Now, Sir Arthur here imbues a certain amount of humor into the story. There's a certain amount of humor also in the story, and that is not present in most of the short stories of Sir Arthur, but of course there is also darkness, as a serious crime has been committed as well. So we have a combination of comedy as well as a little bit of seriousness into it. As in the case of Boscombe Valley Mysteries, Holmes shows an indifference to the judicial system, allowing a criminal once again to escape justice. So the criminal in this case, though, is arguably less deserving of the leniency offered by the consulting detective. So the blue diamond, in fact, what is called the blue carbuncle, is a precious stone that is being reported as being stolen from the hotel room of the Countess of Morcar. This stone has been, the blue carbuncle has been stolen, and this precious stone. So now the theft has occurred, and where we have the theft, we have the detective, we have the investigation. So who could be the best detective then? Sherlock Holmes. The theft had reportedly occurred at the Hotel Cosmopolitan, and whilst the police has a suspect John Horner in custody, so there has been no sign of the blue carbuncle. So now the suspect has been caught up, and there is no sign, no indication of the victim, the stone. Now, then again, there's a series of way how Sherlock Holmes goes and investigates, and how there's laughter, and there is entertainment, and there is so many other things that we find in this story. So basically, I just wanted to give an idea. You have to read the text, and as soon as you read the story, you'll be able to understand in a much better way what exactly the idea is. But here I meant to just give an idea about the story, because basically these stories are not meant for detailed studies. So you can just go through them, and you could just have to understand them. So Sherlock Holmes, then, in fact, this is an intriguing and engaging short story. Intrigue, I hope you understand what is the meaning of intrigue when we do a kind of planning and a plotting. So it's an intriguing and engaging short story in terms of enjoyment. And of course, Sherlock analysis of the hat is interesting. This is a great Christmas read with a good message, and also to see Sherlock Holmes, who often appears cold and aloof, can be compassionate and merciful. So we see here a different type of personality of Sherlock Holmes. That most of the time he appears quite cold and aloof and detached, but here we find him compassionate, means full of pity and sympathy, and of course mercy. So a different side of personality of Sherlock Holmes also visible here. And I also want to remind you that the character of Sherlock Holmes has been invented and created by Dr. Arthur Conan Doyle. He was the one who made this created this character, and this character became very famous as. I think that Sherlock Holmes is a replica of uh, detective, famous detective man who solves the case in a very humorous way. Thank you so much.